Hey, Science Mustangs, Professor Paul here. Welcome to week 4. Hey, I've got some exciting news for you this week. We've got a quiz. Okay, I guess not so exciting to you. Anyway, we do have a quiz this week. I'll talk about that in just a second. This week we're going to be talking a little bit more about stuff we covered last week on the organization of biological life, going from cells to organ systems. So that's what we're going to be covering for the most part in the lesson this week. You'll have 2 lessons, and I'll cover those real briefly too in just a couple seconds. First, let's talk about the quiz. This week, we're going to be covering levels of organization of biological systems. You may remember this from your reading last week on the CK12 textbook, the digital textbook. These are the smallest levels of biological organization, and they go from atom all the way up to organism. All right, so we're going to talk briefly about these different levels real quick so we can go over them. So first of all, we want to talk about these first 2 levels here, atoms and compounds. Right now, how we get from atoms and compounds to organelles and cells is not really well understood. We don't know exactly how this works, so we're not going to go into it too deeply. Just know that there are a lot of different theories and hypotheses that cover it, and there's no concrete proof that any of these hypotheses so far work. We are still trying to figure out some things about how they work and why they work. So bear that in mind as we proceed. But there's a definite pattern of macromolecules involved in the formation of cells. We're just not sure exactly how they originally came about. That's why cell theory says that all cells have to come from previously existing cells. All right, organelles are parts inside of cells. We're going to talk more about those when we get into plant and animal cells. But the organelles serve the same purpose in a cell as organs do in organisms. So we have hearts and lungs, and cells have these organelles that do make energy and help them reproduce and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll be talking about that later on too. But they don't have a cellular structure like organisms do. They use chemical processes, and we're not going to go too deeply into that. But the chemical processes are how cells work. All right. Now we can go up from these smaller levels of organization to larger levels of organization. We can go higher up, and you may recall this from your 6th grade science, that we can start with an organism, and after the organisms group together, and we get population. So a population is a group of individual organisms. The organisms group together to form communities. And these include plants and insects and all the other animals that exist in a particular area that we call an ecosystem. And the ecosystem is the community and all of its surroundings. And sometimes we refer to these as biomes. And then finally, the largest level of organization is the biosphere, which includes all life activity on Earth. All right. But for us, this week, what we're going to be interested in is these layers of the organization from cell to organ systems. So we're going to go from cells up to organ systems and talk about how this particular level of organization works. So that's what we're going to be covering this week. All right. So we've talked about cell theory. All cells come from previously existed cells. The cells are the primary unit of living organisms, and groups of cells form tissue, groups of tissue form organs, and groups of organs form organ systems. So these are the 4 layers that we're going to be talking about this week. Okay, so you have 2 assignments this week. This is the first one here. It's called Is It Made of Cells? This looks like a quiz. You'll click on this link and it'll take you to a page that looks like this. Okay, so the Is It Made of Cells practice looks like this. There's a list of things here, and all you have to do is select true if you think it's made of cells and false if you think it's not made of cells. It's that simple. Now, it looks like there's a whole bunch of them, but it shouldn't take you that long. So here it asks, this last part down here, don't worry about this part down here.
I couldn't take it out without going in and changing the whole thing. So don't worry about this explain your thinking part. The number 28, just skip over that and then click I finished, and then I'll take a look at the results of your selections. So that's the first assignment. Okay, so next you will watch a video. The short video will help you with the next assignment, which is down here. You're going to create a sort of a flow diagram on a Google Doc. And the Google Doc looks like this. Okay, so this is the Google Doc for the flow diagram that you'll be creating. You'll have to make a copy as always, and a little reminder at the top there to type your name up there where it says name. Please do that so I can identify you. Sometimes I find documents that I have opened and I don't know who they belong to, so please put your name up there. That's why I put that reminder up there. In the 4 boxes in the top, you'll put in the 4 levels of biological organization that we talked about it, or you saw in the video. We've already talked about them prior in this video. And then in the boxes below, you will list examples for each of the different levels in the boxes on top. So down here, some examples. Up here, the names of the levels of the organization, and that will be assignment 2. And of course, don't forget to submit it using the hand in button on the Haiku page, as always. Okay, Mustangs, the quiz that you'll be taking this week is at the bottom of the Haiku page. It's the first cells quiz. It's not going to be available until Thursday at about 8 a.m. and it's going to remain open through Saturday, so you can take it anytime in that time. If you need to take it any other time, let me know. You can take it twice. The best grade will be kept. There are questions on everything that we've covered for the last 4 weeks, so including this week. So make sure you do some review and study. The link is right here, and you'll click on that link. And again, it won't be available until after Thursday or until Thursday morning, so you won't be able to click that link until then. But it'll be available to you then. And make sure you take some time to review the material and study and do well on this quiz, because it counts as a quiz. So don't just blow it off as just some other assignment. This is not just another assignment, okay? So bear that in mind when you get ready to take the quiz. All right, so that's the quiz this week. Remember, don't forget to take it. It does count, and you want to make sure that you do well on it. Okay, well, that about wraps it up for me this week. I just want to let you know, remember, you have two assignments to do this week. Don't forget to do both of them. One of them is the identification of something, whether or not something is made of cells or not. That shouldn't take too long. It looks like a quiz that you might have seen on Haiku before. It's not a quiz. Don't worry about that. It's just classwork. But you do have a quiz this week, which we've already talked about. And the second assignment is a sort of a flow map that has to do with the organization of biology from cells to organ systems. So don't forget to complete both of those assignments. And then the quiz will be open on Thursday at about 8 o'clock in the morning. You can take it after that. And if you have any trouble with it, let me know, and we'll talk about that later. Okay? Make sure you stay in touch. Come to the Google Meets, whatever you need to do to ask questions or get clarifications on stuff. And don't forget the quiz. All right. I'm signing out. I'll see you next week, or I'll talk to you this week on Google Meets.